I am a 36-year-old woman, and I've been married to my husband, Alex, for 12 years. We have a 15-year-old son named Max. For the most part, I thought we had a good marriage. Sure, like any relationship, we had our ups and downs, but nothing I would consider out of the ordinary. I always believed we could work through any issues, and I never imagined that something like this would happen to us. A few months ago, I found out that Alex had been having an affair with my younger sister, Lily, who is 29. It was a complete shock, and the pain I felt was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. The affair was exposed during a heated argument when Alex admitted to what had been happening. His justification for it was that it just happened, as if that somehow made it okay. I was devastated. But the real blow came when Lily, in the aftermath, told me that she and Alex were in love. I didn't know how to process what I was hearing. I never expected this betrayal from my husband, and certainly not from my sister. It felt like my whole world was crumbling around me. I immediately filed for divorce. I couldn't fathom staying with Alex after everything that had happened. But what hurt the most was the way my family reacted when I turned to them for support. Instead of comforting me or validating my feelings, my parents acted as though I was overreacting. They told me that marriage was complicated and that I shouldn't throw everything away because of one mistake. They even suggested that Lily, being so young, deserved to be happy and that maybe I should forgive her because of that. They downplayed the whole affair as something insignificant, as if I should just let it go and move on. It made me feel like my pain didn't matter, and I couldn't understand why they wouldn't support me during the hardest time of my life. The situation got even worse when my son, Max, decided he wanted to live with Alex and Lily. I was in complete shock. My parents had been whispering in his ear, telling him that I was overreacting and that Alex and Lily would make a great family. They even promised him rewards, gifts, vacations, anything to make him feel like he was making the right choice. Max, caught in the middle, felt torn but didn't know how to handle it. Hearing this from him broke my heart. I never expected that my own family would manipulate my son in this way, turning him against me and encouraging him to side with the very people who had destroyed my life. It felt like a complete betrayal. I couldn't stay in that environment any longer. The guilt, the betrayal, the manipulation, I had to get away. I moved to a new city, hoping to find peace and start over. I started therapy to help me deal with the emotional fallout, and over time, I began to rebuild my life. I made new friends, found a support system, and focused on healing. But even then, I struggled with the loneliness of being distanced from my family. It was hard not having anyone to turn to, especially as I continued to try and process everything that had happened. Months later, my parents reached out to me, expressing how much they miss me and how the family wasn't the same without me. They tried to guilt-trip me, claiming I was punishing them for staying neutral, as though they had no responsibility in what had happened. They even suggested that I should forgive Alex and Lily for Max's sake. They tried to convince me that I should come back to the family and make things work for the greater good. They told me that I should act like an adult, stop holding grudges, and reconcile for Max's future. I couldn't understand how they could expect me to just forget the betrayal and hurt they had all contributed to. I began to question everything. Was I being too harsh? Was I wrong for cutting them out of my life? Was I selfish for not wanting to reconcile for Max's sake? Even though he had sided with Alex and Lily, the guilt weighed heavily on me. But after hearing all the comments from people who had been through similar situations and who supported my decision, I realized that I wasn't in the wrong. I decided to reach out to Max to have an honest conversation with him. I didn't want him to think that I was abandoning him, even though it hurt that he had chosen to live with Alex and Lily. During our conversation, I learned just how much manipulation had been happening. My parents had told Max that I was unstable, that living with Alex and Lily would give him a normal life, and they promised him all sorts of material rewards if he stayed with them. He admitted to feeling torn but didn't know how to deal with everything. It broke my heart to realize just how much he had been influenced and manipulated, but I also understood that he was still a child, and he was caught in a web of lies. I decided that I wouldn't give up on Max, but I also wouldn't force him into a situation where he would continue to be manipulated. I've started seeing a family therapist to work on rebuilding our relationship, but I know it will take time. For now, though, I'm keeping my distance and focusing on my own healing. As for my family, I've officially cut ties with them. I told my parents and Lily that I would not participate in their toxic behavior any longer. They tried to guilt-trip me once more, reminding me that family is everything, but I reminded them that family doesn't destroy each other's lives. I couldn't let them continue to manipulate me or guilt-trip me into accepting their actions. I am done with the chaos they created. Meanwhile, Alex and Lily's relationship has started to fall apart as well. Alex cheated on Lily, which didn't surprise me at all, and now she's blaming him for everything. My parents, of course, are scrambling to play peacekeepers, trying to patch things up, but I'm not interested in being part of their mess anymore. I've focused on rebuilding my life, joining a support group for women who have gone through similar betrayals, and it has been incredibly healing. I'm learning to prioritize my own happiness, and though I'm still hurt, I'm starting to move forward. As for Max, I'm hopeful that over time, we can rebuild our bond, even if it takes years. I just hope that one day he'll see the truth of what's happened and understand why I made the decisions I did. If my family wants to live in the chaos they've created, they can do it without me. I've chosen to move on, and though it's not easy, it's the only way I can heal. After our first conversation, I began to focus on rebuilding my relationship with Max, and that journey wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Therapy played a crucial role in both of our healing processes, helping us individually and as a family. The process allowed us to confront many painful truths, especially about the people closest to us. Over time, Max started to see the truth about the situation. He began to understand how manipulative my ex-husband Alex and my sister Lily had been. He also realized how my parents had fueled the lies to justify their actions against me. Max admitted that he felt guilty for siding with them, but he didn't know at the time how to see through their manipulation or how to stand up for me. It was a painful realization for him, but it was also a turning point in his own healing. Last year, Max made a life-changing decision. He chose to move in with me full-time. That moment was one of the happiest days of my life. His decision felt like a gift, a new beginning. He apologized for everything, acknowledging the hurt that had been caused, and shared how much he missed the loving, safe environment we used to have. For the first time in a long while, I could see the hope in his eyes again. We started making new memories together, small, simple moments that reinforced our bond and filled our home with warmth. Our relationship became stronger than ever. It wasn't long after Max moved in that we decided to take legal action against Alex and Lily for parental alienation. We had collected substantial evidence, therapy session notes, texts, and recorded conversations that clearly showed how they had intentionally tried to turn Max against me. Along with the emotional toll, they had tried to rewrite our history and create false narratives about me. The case was hard, but it was necessary. The court ruled in our favor, ordering Alex and Lily to pay back child support and cover Max's therapy expenses. It was a hard pill for them to swallow, but they only had themselves to blame. Alex tried to claim that he was financially struggling, but the judge didn't buy it. Lily, unsurprisingly, tried to paint herself as a victim in all of this, but I made it clear that I wanted nothing to do with her. As for my parents, they made numerous attempts to reconcile, but I stayed firm in my decision to cut them off. They kept telling me that time heals all wounds and that I should move on for the sake of the family. But I couldn't. No amount of time could undo the damage they had caused. I had to tell them plainly that forgiveness was not possible when they enabled the destruction of my life and tried to alienate me from Max. I had to protect my son and myself, even if it meant cutting ties with people I had once called family. Other family members attempted to intervene, but I shut them down immediately. They couldn't understand the boundaries I had set, and I realized that if they weren't going to respect them, they didn't deserve a place in my life. In a much brighter chapter, I started dating again. About 6 months ago, I met Mark. He's kind, supportive, and incredibly patient. Everything Alex had never been. What struck me most was how gentle he was with Max. He treated him with the utmost respect and care, never overstepping boundaries, but always offering a listening ear and support when needed. For the first time in years, I felt loved, valued, and supported. Looking back at everything I've been through, I can hardly believe how far I've come. From feeling completely broken and alone, I've managed to rebuild my life. It's now filled with love, stability, and peace. Things I never thought I'd have again. Cutting off toxic people wasn't an easy decision, but it was necessary for both my healing and Max's well-being. To everyone who supported me on this journey, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your encouragement, your strength, and your belief in me gave me the courage to fight for myself and for Max. I'm finally at peace, and I couldn't be more grateful for how things have turned out. Here's to the brighter days ahead.